reaction to Rush Limbaugh receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom. First of all, the Presidential Medal of Freedom is an extraordinarily sacred award. We're talking about putting someone on the same level as Rosa Parks, for example, in terms of their contributions to American progress. Rush Limbaugh is a virulent racist, but even just on top of that, to do it in the middle of a State of the Union and not even dignify it with its own ceremony as it has, there's all sorts of norms that are being violated, not just for people's humanity, but also it truly just cheapens the value of it. Also, him pretending to be surprised was such a joke. This has been news all day. There have been multiple reports from multiple news outlets saying that Rush Limbaugh was going to receive the Medal of Freedom, and then Trump announced it, and he had to pretend that this was some kind of Oprah moment. Was so disingenuous. And to do that and to give it to Rush Limbaugh when there were plenty of people in that audience that have contributed positively to the fabric of American society, much more, frankly, than he has. But it's red meat to his base. Trump knows what he's doing, and he wants to assert that Rush Limbaugh is somehow on the same level as Rosa Parks. And it's truly nauseating. And this is one of the many reasons why I did not go,
The first thing that jumps out about AOC's attack is that the only person she could think of to mention as the standard bearer for the Medal of Freedom was Rosa Parks. Of course, that was as expected. Parks was the activist known as the mother of the modern civil rights movement. She did indeed have an impact on society. AOC was probably influenced by Parks. Like so many other Democrats who have entered politics, Ocasio-Cortez believes that activists are supremely important to human progress. But they never seem to grasp that other political ideologies also have activists. Rush Limbaugh, in addition to being a giant in the field of broadcasting, has also been an activist. He has, more than any other American perhaps, stood up to the demonization of conservatives that is the primary political tool of people like AOC. So, of course, she trotted out the old charge that Limbaugh is a racist. That's what they do. They slander people. I've never been a regular Limbaugh listener. I check in with him on occasion, usually when I'm traveling and spinning the dial looking for something other than preachers and norteño music. He's a talented guy and a trenchant political analyst. When he came on the scene several years before AOC was born, there was no national meeting place for conservatives on a daily basis. The media had long since become dominated by reporters and commentators who held a left-wing bias. Only William F. Buckley on TV and Paul Harvey on radio continued to speak to the values of Middle America. Both of them, by the way, also won the Medal of Freedom. There is nothing extraordinarily sacred about the Presidential Medal of Freedom. This award is handed out pretty casually. Barack Obama gave out 123 of them. That's more than one a month. He awarded some activists, though Bill Clinton had just about used them all up. But that was okay. Obama was happy to lay medals on a bunch of musicians and basketball players. He gave one to Cheetah Rivera. For the most part, these medals are a way for presidents to display their cultural literacy, to say, look, I'm aware of this obscure dude who stood up for people who'd been locked in internment camps. Or, look at me, I'm hip to that physicist who thought about string theory while stuck in a wheelchair. The gamut runs from architects to business people to sports figures to astronauts and on and on and on. If there is a common thread, it's that the people given the award are seen as leaders in their field and oftentimes are considered beloved by Americans, like Vin Scully or Aretha Franklin or Buzz Aldrin, all medal winners. I know that it's hard for Democrats to understand that conservatives have inspirational leaders. Due to the 50-plus years of mass character assassination, Democrats don't even believe that conservatives are capable of being inspired. To them, we're soulless, greedy warmongers with no internal lives. Rush Limbaugh reached out to the people who had been unjustly marginalized by prejudice and hatred, In that way, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, he has quite a bit in common with Rosa Parks. If you think I'm overstating this, call Rashida Tlaib and tell her you're dating a Republican. The current upsurge in unapologetic African-American conservatives can be seen as akin to the bus boycott led by the example of Rosa Parks. They face aggressive discrimination from people like AOC. But Rush Limbaugh has their backs. President Trump, while still in the middle of an impeachment proceeding also driven by hatred and fear, decided to reward one of the fathers of the modern conservative movement. That he did so publicly was a gesture that said, "We won't be turned around." By the way, isn't it odd that in the course of a single minute, AOC both objected to Limbaugh receiving the honor and that he didn't receive it with all due pomp and circumstance? But I digress. Let's look at her charge that Limbaugh is a virulent racist. And yes, college girl, that's how it's pronounced. This isn't new. I've heard many lefties make that charge against Rush. When asked for proof, they generally point to a comedy song Limbaugh played called Barack the Magic Negro. But that term was not coined by Limbaugh. I first heard it in a piece in the Los Angeles Times by David Ehrenstein, who is a left-wing journalist specializing in LGBT issues. I'll link it below. The Magic Negro refers to the white guilt tendency of left-wing people to fill books and movies with black characters who are preternaturally wise and saintly. You've seen Morgan Freeman play many of them. I doubt that he will be cast as Bo Snerdley, Limbaugh's beloved producer, when the movie is made, though he certainly has the right complexion for the role. That's right, Snerdley is black. The song Limbaugh played was written by a satirist named Paul Shanklin. It was intended to poke fun at race-based virtue signaling by white people, not to poke fun at black people. So yeah, I would say that doing 3 hours a day of radio for an audience of 20 million for over 30 years has had a profound impact on America. AOC is not mad because the man has not changed the country. She's mad because he has. I understand what she's feeling. Maybe by the end of President Trump's second term, she'll have accrued enough life experience to accept that ideologies other than the one she took on at university are held in good faith by perfectly kind and thoughtful people. If so, maybe she will stop accusing her fellow Americans of being monsters and become a force for good in this great country. Maybe then she'll find herself being given the award. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel and then click the little bell to get notifications.